Zwischenzug. Let's learn about the tactic Zwischenzug. I don't speak German. What is Zwischenzug? Zwischenzug means in-between move. It's an unexpected move you play before you play the expected one. Let's take a look at an example. In this position, we're in the middle of a complicated exchange. At the moment, black has an extra rook, and white has 2 extra pawns. But white expects to win a knight because black's e6 pawn is overloaded, because it's defending black's knight and queen. After black takes white's queen with e6 pawn, this pawn won't be defending black's f5 knight anymore, so white's h3 bishop will be able to take it. But black had a surprise for white. Black didn't take white's queen back straight away. Black played a Zwischenzug. So why is this move such a good idea? Isn't it a bit risky not taking the queen back straight away? Well, this bishop move does 2 things. Let's look at them. First, with the help of this bishop, black's rook can give checkmate. And second, the bishop defends the knight on f5, so black's e6 pawn isn't overloaded anymore. Perhaps white can move the c1 bishop out of the way, so the h1 rook stops checkmate. But now black can take the queen back without losing the f5 knight. So black stays in front by a rook for 2 pawns, and white will lose. When this game was played, white resigned after black played the clever bishop move. Okay, let's look at another example. Check can be a very powerful Zwischenzug. In this position, white has just taken the black bishop on b5, but black's rook is under attack, so black can't take the bishop back straight away. After the rook swap, then black will take the bishop back. But white doesn't have to take the rook back straight away. White can take time to save the bishop first, and take the rook back after black gets out of check. In this position, white has a strong attack lined up, so black tried to disrupt it by swapping rooks to pull the bishop off the diagonal. But white doesn't have to take back straight away. First, white gave check with the queen. The bishop doesn't need to defend the queen anymore, so now it can take the rook back, leaving white in a much better position than if the rook had been taken straight away. Of course, you have to think carefully to make sure your Zwischenzug works. Black could take the queen back straight away, but white's pawn is undefended, so black decides to take the pawn first and take the queen back after white gets out of check. Can you spot the problem? White can block check with the queen, and now black can only take the queen back at the cost of a rook. So that didn't work out well for black. In this position, black can take white's f1 rook for the cost of the a6 bishop. This is the move white is expecting, but black found a better move to play first. Black noticed that the white queen is in a bit of a tight spot, without many safe squares, and came up with the following Zwischenzug, forcing the white queen onto the c-file. But how does that help? White didn't actually play this move. White resigned. But if white had moved the queen onto the c-file, you can see that when the black bishop takes the white rook now, the white queen will be under attack. So white can't take the bishop, and black has won a rook for nothing. So remember, sometimes it's better not to play the obvious move straight away. It might be to your advantage to play another move first.